Oh man, it is a beautiful day out. The weather has just been total crap over the last few days. Well, a few weeks, honestly. It's been super cold, single digits, or it's been raining or snowing. So yeah, this is the first like decent day we've had in some time, and it feels nice to get out here and be in the sun and smell the fresh air, because it's been a while since I've been out. It's been a while since I've been camping. It's been a while since I've made a video, and now here we are today. Yeah, making another video. I think, as you guys have deduced already from the title, this video is about moving on from the Tacoma and finding something else. Now, I already found what that is. I'll show you guys here in a moment. But yeah, it's been challenging getting to this point. The Tacoma is such a dialed vehicle now and does everything that I want of it when it comes to exploring and camping, save for a few key areas, which is what we're going to talk about. But yeah, I've been loving the Tacoma, but I think it is finally time to get rid of it and move into the next build. Now, before we show that, the big reasons why I want to get rid of the Tacoma are power. It is just a gutless truck. Even though it has the V6, it only makes like 180 something horsepower or whatever. And when it's all loaded down with gear, I mean, that's great for going slow on back roads and in the woods and stuff like that. But on the highway, doing any real sort of distance, it is, I would say it's kind of like fatiguing sometimes, especially when it comes to like passing. You don't have as many opportunities to get around slow vehicles with a vehicle that doesn't have a lot of power. Going up mountain passes and stuff like that can be a challenge with it. So that's one big thing I wanted to address. The next big thing is interior space. The Tacoma is great, again, for me, is like if I'm out solo, it's perfect. Plenty of room for me and all the stuff that I have. But once I bring my wife along and the dog, and especially if we're going out for anything other than an overnight trip, it is really tight and packed in there. And finally, I wanted something that could serve more purposes than just kind of like a camping vehicle. So the Tacoma, yeah, I still have access to the truck bed. I can still put some fairly large things inside of there, but the canopies doesn't come off super easily. I can't load up my dirt bike in the back. Certainly not gonna take the truck to the local landscaping place and have them put, mulch in the back of it. So I wanted something that serves more purposes than really kind of just a dedicated exploring rig or things like that. So yeah, those are really the big main things I was looking to address with this new vehicle. And I spent a lot of time searching and considering options, and I think I have arrived to something that I really like. I've had it for the last few weeks. I've been driving it around. If you follow me on my Instagram, you already know what it is. But yeah, I've been pretty happy with it so far. And I've got a lot of things that I want to do to it to really build it out into what I want. But as a base, I think it's going to check all the boxes that we just talked about. So I feel like I've been blabbling on. Without any further ado, why don't we just go ahead and show you guys what it is. All right, so behind me is my new to me 2010 Toyota Tundra. Now this is the TRD Rock Warrior package, which as far as I know basically means it comes with a supplemental transcooler, the transcooler gauge on the instrument cluster. It's got the 17-inch forged TRD wheels, which are apparently super lightweight and strong, really sought after. It's got 430 gearing, and then the paint matched front bumper and grille. And I think that's about it as far as this package goes. It may have an upgraded alternator as well. Not super read up on the different packages and stuff, but it's got 97,000 miles on it, which for a 13-year-old vehicle is very good. The guy drove obviously less than 10,000 miles a year. I think I am the second owner of this vehicle because the Carfax has service history at the same dealership in California all the way up until like mid 80,000 miles. So it is a West Coast California vehicle. It is completely rust free, not a speck of rust anywhere. The undercarriage looks like it's brand spanking new. Well, it doesn't today because it's muddy and wet out here, but other than that, everything looks good on it. Everything looks good under the hood. The interior is in really good shape. Tires, 33-inch BFG KO2s, which are brand new. It's got an aftermarket nice stereo system in it, WeatherTech floor mats. Yeah, it kind of really checks all the boxes. I feel lucky that I stumbled across it. It's also got dual climate control, which is super awesome. The second gen, before the facelift, it was common to find dual climate control on like lower trim models like SR5 and stuff, whereas once they moved into the facelift version, I think you had to be up into the limited, and dual climate was a lot harder to find. So I really like that about this. And then it checks a couple other big boxes. Like I said, black cloth interior was something that I was looking for in a truck. I was looking for more of a double cab form factor, not a crew max or like bigger cab, because I wanted to have the 6.5 foot bed, as well as, in a smaller footprint. And this achieves that while still giving us ample room on the inside for all our gear or hauling friends around or things like that. Yeah, it's just checks a lot of boxes right from the get-go, which is great. I feel like it's going to provide me an awesome foundation to kind of take it to the next level and build it out. That's the hardest thing about looking for these used vehicles and used trucks is mileage, options, how beat up are they? Does it have all of the things that you're looking for in a vehicle at a good price? And I feel like this checks all those boxes. Now, why I went with Toyota over another brand really comes down to I've had awesome luck with my Tacoma. It's been dead reliable. I haven't had to do anything other than regular maintenance to it. And the resale value is so hard to argue with. My Tacoma has only appreciated in value. Now I know that doesn't happen with everything Toyota makes, but that is hard to get away from. I also like how just utilitarian this truck is. Now, some people like the bells and whistles. I know I certainly did in the 22 Tundra that I had. It's nice to have certain electronic features and things like that. But ultimately, in the long run, that is just more stuff to go wrong and more costly probably to maintain in the long run. And I like that this is a more simplistic truck, and it provides just enough features to make it feel definitely more modern than the Tacoma, but not feel like you're lacking a ton. Now, obviously, it is a 13-year-old vehicle, so it's going to be lacking a lot of new features, but that doesn't really matter a whole lot to me. But yeah, that's kind of just a brief 30,000 foot overview of this truck. So why don't we go ahead and jump into some of the things that I want to do to it and kind of the boxes, things I want to check off in the short term for the truck and my overall goals for it. Oh man. Look at all this space in here. There's so much room for activities. I feel like you guys are so far away over there. Before we jump into kind of what I want to do to this truck in the short term, I just want to talk about some of the things that I love about the interior of this Tundra. Now, the biggest thing is obviously the space. It's super roomy in here. These seats are also really comfortable, and it's just, I don't know, it feels like a really good space to be. But some of the cool things about this Tundra that I like, now bear in mind it's a 2010, it's 13 years old. It's not a limited or a high trim model or anything like that. I think I already mentioned it, the dual climate control. I absolutely love that. Having the wife be able to pick her temperature, I can pick mine, is a game changer on those long road trips when you are probably warmer or colder than your partner. So that's nice to have. Now the other small thing is steering wheel controls for the audio. I drive a 2002 Tacoma, so living way in the past, don't have any of those niceties. So having that is super nice. Now I like the big analog controls on the dash, these big knobs, super simple, can use with gloves on. Again, really utilitarian, not a lot that's going to go wrong with this. Another little feature that I like that I didn't know this had is it's got heated wiper parks, which if you're driving in the winter, the most annoying thing that happens is it gets really hot inside the truck because you're running the defroster, so you turn it down so you're not boiling yourself, and then your windshield wipers freeze up and then they stop working, and that is frustrating. Having heated wiper parks is a game changer for that, so that is super awesome. Really stoked about that. Now, the other just big thing that I love about this truck is all the little nooks and crannies and cubbies and things like that, where you can just store stuff. I feel like modern cars are lacking a lot of storage in some cases. The newest third gen Tundra has a shitty interior when it comes to storage and things like that. This, I guess one of the biggest gripes about the interior of the third gen Tundra, at least for the double cab, is it only had a single 12-volt spot up on the dash, which is totally stupid. This truck has one, two, I think it's also got three, and does it have one back here? I think it's got three just right up here up front, which is awesome. That means I can plug in my drone stuff and recharge it. I can put some USB port things down here for charging phones. It's great. All of the door cubbies are awesome, like little pockets and things here and there. The center console is massive. There's just so much more space for everyday necessities, like whatever you want to stick in here. I love that it fits my full size Hydro Flask water bottle in here. I mean, there's just these little things, these little like creature comforts, maybe things that you don't realize you want or need until you have them. And I feel like this truck checks a lot of boxes as far as that's concerned. Now, the seats are super comfortable. The driver's seat has a ton of adjustment, which is awesome, especially for this trim level. You know, when you are in these lower trim vehicles, you lose a lot of adjustment. Now, these aren't power seats, but I don't care. Again, that's one less thing to go wrong. That's less weight. I am perfectly fine with manual seats, and these work great. And then, yeah, the back's got a ton of storage as well. Love the lift up seats. It's got a little bit less storage because it has the amp under one side and the two 10-inch subwoofers on the other side. But it actually is a little bit more usable to me than the third gen Tundra was, because the third gen has like these buckets underneath, and I kind of just like the exposed floor a little bit better. Moving into kind of what I want to do with this vehicle. The first thing that I think I want to do is address the suspension. Now, the stock suspension isn't bad. It actually feels pretty good, but it's got a bit of a rake to it, like most trucks do. So it either needs a leveling kit or it needs some new shocks and coilovers in the front to help level it out. And I think that's the route I'm going to go. Bilstein offers their 6112 front shocks for this truck, which are going to be a big upgrade over the factory shocks, and they also have 5160 rear shocks with the external reservoir. That's probably the route I'm going to go with this. So it'll give me a nice improvement over the factory suspension, as well as correcting the stance on this vehicle. May go aftermarket upper control arms. I'm not sure yet. But I'm not going to go crazy on it. I don't have the budget to go crazy on it, unless somebody wants to send me some free suspension bits. I just really can't afford to go super extravagant on that stuff. So I want to make it nice, make it reliable. I don't want something that I'm going to have to rebuild every year, which is common with like King shocks and stuff like that, that you kind of increase your maintenance going into some of these higher performance things. And I don't really want any of that. This is still a daily driver for me, so I want to keep it simple while improving it. Moving on to wheels and tires. These wheels are super strong and lightweight, and they don't actually look, I don't mind the look of them, but I would probably like something different. But I haven't decided yet on that. I do want to move up from the 33-inch tires to probably 34s. I think if I level this out, it's going to maybe add even a little bit of lift to it. It's going to need slightly bigger tires. I don't want to compromise its road-going manners and like fuel mileage too much, so that's probably why I'm going to stick to 34s and not go to 35s. We'll see. But yeah, that kind of handles that on the suspension, wheel and tires front. The next big thing I want to address is the lighting. Now, the stock headlights and the fog lights, not very good. Not what I like, at least in what I expect out of my vehicles as far as lighting is concerned. If you've seen my other videos, I upgraded the Tacoma headlights to actual projectors with HID bulbs in them, and I just love how bright those are. And it really made a massive difference to like that nighttime driving or that early dawn or even dusk driving that I like to do. I already have some CBI ditch light brackets on the way. And then I've been eyeballing headlights. Probably going to go with like Morimoto XB LED headlights for this. They're really, really pricey, but I think they're worth it from the warranty and longevity perspective. They're, all SAE certified, DOT certified, and they'll really improve the look of this truck on the front. I didn't really like these Tundras and how they looked. It's kind of been growing on me, but I think updating the headlights to something more modern and putting a front bumper on here and leveling out the stance and a little bit bigger tires goes a long ways into making these trucks look really awesome. So that's really the plan for me. Front bumper, haven't decided what I'm going to do there yet. All the options that are out there are really, really pricey. When I bought the ARB bumper for my Tacoma, it was like $800, which at the time for me was a lot of money. Bumpers for this are like $1,300 to $1,900 for something from C4 fabrication, and that is even before powder coating. So it'll probably be a little bit before I make a bumper happen. So in the meantime, I'm probably going to update the fog lights to something from Baja Designs or Dow Dynamics. So you make maybe like an intermediate step before I get a bumper, but I definitely want to get a bumper for protection from animals, but also to add in a spot for a winch and recovery points. And then lastly, the steps have got to go at some point. I'm going to keep them on for now because they are nice to have to get into the truck, especially for the wife, but I definitely want to get some sliders on here and make that look a little bit better, and obviously add some functionality and protection to the vehicle. But outside of that, as far as the exterior goes, not a ton that I want to change. Not going to go super crazy on it. As far as the interior is concerned, again, not a ton that I want to change. It pretty much has everything that I want in here. Just going to get some waterproof seat covers like I had in the Tacoma. And then I already have a plate coming for the dash up here from ICS Fab, which will give me a spot to put some ram balls so I can move away from the suction cup mount for my tablet and move into something a little bit more sturdy there. But outside of that, I mean, the interior is pretty dialed. I'll, probably add things along the way like a radio and stuff, but not a whole lot that needs to be done. Like I mentioned, it's got all the stereo stuff in it that I would need and already do. So a lot of the boxes on this are checked already, which is great. All right, so that is an overview of kind of the things I want to address and do to the truck in the short term. Now, I know you guys are wondering, what am I going to do for a camping adventure setup on this truck? And the answer is I really don't know what I'm going to do in the short term. But I know what my long-term goal is, and that is to get a sliding camper. Probably something very similar to a four-wheel camper Hawk. And the reason why I want to go the slide-in camper route as opposed to maybe another build like I had is I want something that's fully enclosed that I can take off the truck and put on the truck with, relative ease. Now that's not easy to do with the setup that I currently have on my Tacoma. There's the whole interior build and it's not sealed, so I'd have to find a way to protect the topper from the elements and then protect the interior stuff from the elements, and it just would be such a big ordeal and hassle to take that on and off that it just is not feasible. It doesn't make any sense to do. And I know I don't want a trailer or anything like that because I want to keep a small, nimble package and be able to still explore the roads and things that I like to do without having a trailer behind me or anything like that. That's just not the route that I want to go. I certainly have a truck now that's capable of doing that stuff, but not what I want to do. So I feel like a sliding camper is the best compromise between having more space and more creature comforts, but still having something small and compact that's not going to completely compromise the off-road abilities of this vehicle and the abilities to get out and explore in new areas. And like, I love what my Tacoma has and I love that build, but it's ultimately not super comfortable for two people. It's tight when you have two people and a dog and all your gear in there. Can it be done? Yes, but it's really more of a solo adventure vehicle. for me. And it also, while it does provide a spot to get out of the elements temporarily, like I've done before, I've cooked in there and stuff like that. Again, once you throw in a second person, it becomes pretty cramped. And it's not something where you want to spend all day there. You know, like I wouldn't take the Tacoma to the coast on a rainy weekend because I don't want to sit in the back, you know, all day. There's no windows or anything like that. So it just wouldn't be the best experience, especially if the wife and dog come along. And I feel like a camper provides that, you know, a spot to get out of the elements and be comfortable and warm and have a table and a sink and all that stuff. I think that's really a sweet spot, and you see a lot of other YouTubers and other people doing the same thing. I think that's a really good compromise between, you know, a fully dedicated camping vehicle like a van or a motorhome, and then something lightweight like my Tacoma. I think this is a good middle ground that's going to not like compromise my abilities to get out and explore too much. But that's the long-term goal. I don't know if I'm going to be able to accomplish that right away. So in the meantime, probably going to end up camping out of the Tacoma a few more times before I get rid of it. And then might do ground tent out of this for a little bit. Just depends on what I find for sale and what I can make happen in the near term. But that is really the plan for things right now. I feel like this video is going on longer than I thought it would. I feel like I've been rambling a little bit, but wanted to show you guys the new truck and kind of what's in store for it. I'm looking forward to making it mine, bringing you guys along for the ride. I'm of course going to do as much work on it myself as I can, and yeah, bring you guys along for that and make some videos along the way. But I'm super stoked to be moving on to something different and kind of starting this next chapter. I feel like this is going to be kind of the catalyst to some bigger trips, and also getting my wife out there more and the dog, and bringing them with me on more stuff. I super want to do that. Exploring and seeing new areas with the both of them is awesome. And yeah, I want to do that more and have a comfortable area to be, and you know, a nice base camp for going out on dirt biking trips or mountain biking trips with the buddies. I feel like this is going to be just perfect for that. So anyways, not to belabor the point, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully you guys are as excited as I am to get into this next chapter. Leave a comment below. Let me know if there's any questions or things you guys want to see on this, as I'm thinking about upcoming videos for it. And yeah, subscribe if you haven't, but I'll catch you guys in the next video.